My name is Kelsey Robeson, and the lesson that I created today was over the water cycle. So the lesson information, I wrote this out for second grade. The subjects are science, specifically earth and space science, talking about the water cycle, and the lesson duration is 40 minutes. So the lesson objectives, to start off, things that are highlighted will be later discussed for my critical perspectives, content, context, and critique. So for my lesson objectives, students will be able to describe the 4 different stages of the water cycle, i.e. condensation, evaporation, precipitation, and collection. And students will be able to explain the role of the sun, clouds, rain, and ocean in the water cycle. Unit objectives, students will be able to understand the different processes of the water cycle and how they interact with each other. Students will learn about the major components of and types of weather. And by completing the learning activities, the students will be able to demonstrate the water cycle using words, pictures, and tools, create a water cycle chart, write about the water cycle using terms such as condensation, evaporation, collection, and precipitation. The materials needed for the lesson are sandwich bags, water, cotton balls, water that has been boiled, scissors, glue sticks, the water cycle educational video, which I pictured up there, I also linked, and the water cycle diagram, and a writing utensil. So for the actual procedure of the lesson, it's best to do the activity portion outside. To start off, you'll show the water cycle video, pause the video where necessary to elaborate or discuss if students have questions, have students line up and head outside to a flat ground area. So for teacher modeling, introduce that we will be talking about the water cycle and gather the students where they can all see you and have the boiling water close by. Explain that when water collects, eventually the sun will heat up, causing the water to evaporate as steam and form into tiny drops that travel into the air forming clouds. Hold an open sandwich bag above the boiling water so that the inside of the bag will collect condensation, and explain that this is what happens when water evaporates and collects as clouds. You will set out 2 cups of water, one filled with tap and the other filled with bottled, so they can see, smell, or feel a difference. Tell them that even though the tap water is safe to drink, where we live, many will buy bottled water anyway because they think it tastes better. Giving the companies that sell the water money for something that you can get in your own home, and this is an example of profit motive. Give them each a cotton ball and have them dip it into the water and completely saturate the cotton balls and squeeze them out of the ball onto the ground, and explain that this is an example of precipitation. Explain that the water then collects into a body of water and the process starts all over again. Also explain that in many parts of the world there is no clean water, so even when it rains, water might still be contaminated. Many people and families in Africa and in many third world countries don't have access to clean water, and they have to travel very far to get it. So have them pay particular attention to the vocabulary, have them collect their things and return inside. For the guided practice, there is a water cycle diagram worksheet, which I do have pictured. Basically have them do that, go through it with the class, and then for independent practice, have them fill out or cut out and glue the labels onto the diagram. For students' prior knowledge, in order to understand this lesson, students will have prior knowledge of the weather, knowing the different types of precipitation such as rain, sleet, snow, or freezing rain. Students should have prior knowledge that the sun is a form of energy on the planet. For my standards, I chose 4.1, 4.3, and ESS 2.ESS4. There wasn't really any very specific ones that I could find that directly related to the water cycle. These were the ones that I thought best fit, and I found these at the Department of Education, .im.gov. For the assessments, I chose summative, the water cycle diagram worksheet, which is here, and the terms that they can cut out, or for differentiation, they can write them out onto the paper. And for my critical perspectives, I address content in my objectives, context in my procedure, the teacher modeling section, where I address the group of African descent, and for critique, I did profit motive, where I discussed the water models. Does anyone have any questions?
I hope my time.
Okay, Sydney's up now, then following her will be Michael, and after Michael will be Audrey.